We are here to talk to the spirit and the souls of Ambazonia. We are here to galvanize Ambazonians together as a people to stand up for the freedom of the nation. Today, it's a collective responsibility. So I want to thank you all once again for joining us this evening for the pre-launch of the Operation 200 acres and 400,000 seats. With me here is the President of the Ambazonian Governing Council, Dr. Cho Lucas AYABA, and the leader of our War of Independence. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for being here with me in the studio for this all-important occasion. I say all-important occasion, or the VVV IP occasion. That is how important this project is to our revolution and to the people of Ambazonia. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for that passionate opener. As you've said, it's not a speech-making outing. We should connect with our people for this collective responsibility so we can work together in the last mile of our struggle for freedom.
Thank you. Thank you once again, fellow Ambalanders. If you're just tuning in, today is the pre-launch of the Operation 200 acres that we've been advertising for a couple of months and weeks now. This is just the beginning, and we will be bringing you more editions of the same project and other important projects that we are putting in place, all geared at the liberation of our homeland. But before we dive into this program and open up discussions, because like I said, this is a call to come out and be a partaker of this project and be a patriot to this project. So before we go ahead, I would just like us to honor the Ambazonian national anthem. There is no way we can dive into this project without honoring what defines us, what makes us a people. So if the studio is ready with the national anthem, please, let's listen to the most beautiful national anthem in the entire world. It's the Ambazonian national anthem.
Hail, hail, hail this land of glory. We the Ambazonians, we pledge our loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the heroes who bought the land with their blood. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in our nation, flowing with milk and honey. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation and joy forevermore. Amazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty and needs and all our needs. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Amazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty and needs and all our needs. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
Wow. Thank you very much, the technical team, for that beautiful anthem. Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, the Ambazonian national anthem is the most beautiful anthem in the entire wide world. If you listen to the wordings of the anthem, you will agree with me that it is indeed the most beautiful and most meaningful and impactful anthem that you will come across, especially in this era. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Today is the pre-launch of Operation 200 acres and 400,000 seats. This is a project that we want to give it over to the people of Ambazonia to own it, run with it. This is why we are here in the studio today, to talk to you about what this 200 acres would do to our fighters on the ground, what it would do to our communities, what it will bring, the impact it will create for the liberation of Ambazonia. But before we go into that in details, once again, we have people who have given up their lives to make sure that Ambazonia becomes a free homeland. We have people who are today still languishing in jails because they spoke in the midst amidst adversity. We have people who have sacrificed everything. They are living in bushes because they told themselves that they will stand for what they believe in, and that is the freedom of Ambazonia. So today, ladies and gentlemen, let's honor those that have fallen in this fight, fighting for the liberation of Ambazonia, and those that are still languishing in jails, and those in bushes and in refugee camps. We do not forget our refugees. We do not forget our IDPs. We remember everybody, because we Ambazonians, we stand for we are one, one for all and all for one. So let's observe a minute of silence, especially to our fallen heroes. And may the souls of the faithful departed rest in power. Thank you very much.
Ready! Fire! 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 Ready! Fire!
Fellow Ambalanders, fellow Ambazonians, war over. Yes, that was the 21-gun salute that was given to our own very own General AYABA, the person, this person who brought sleepless nights in the lives of La Republic, to the government of La Republic. The mention of Ambazonia alone, when they mention Ambazonia, the first thing they think of is how to face General AYABA. And we all know the sacrifices of General AYABA, how he single-handedly made Ambazonia what it is today. He gave us all hope. He really gave La Republic sleepless night. He caused a lot of economic sabotage in La Republic. He bankrupted La Republic in many ways. And he gave hope to Ambazonia to believe that there is a reason for them to fight. He encouraged our young people to stand for what is right. He stood for justice. He stood for freedom. He stood for a liberated homeland, and he was willing, and he said it repeatedly on many occasions, that even if it means giving his own life to make sure that Ambazonia was liberated, he was willing to gladly give his life to Ambazonia. And that he did. He died a hero because he was fighting to the very end, to the very last minute that his life was taken when he fell. So we honor him, not just General Ivor, but any other general, the many other generals that have fallen in course of this war. But today, we are here today not to talk about the falling, but what we can do to honor their memories and what they started. That is why we are here today to talk to Ambazonians about the importance of this Operation 200 AKs. Not going too much into it, I would just like to invite the president to say one or two things, and I'll come back to you all, and we will take it from there. Mr. President.
Thank you very much. I was looking at the picture of the original General Ivor, and I wish him well wherever he is, and I pray for him, the kids he left behind, and all those who have fallen on behalf of our nation. As you have said, we are here to make sure that their lives wasn't lost in vain, and that those who are still fighting have a better way of protecting themselves as they go about trying to secure the land. These brave men and women who are falling have done a lot in projecting Ambazonia and in ensuring that the enemy is held at bay in their quest to eliminate Ambazonians' identity. So today is a great day, and we have already achieved a lot before coming into the studio, and it will be very important for you to bring us further in this discussion on how we got here.
Perfect. Okay, so I would like to invite the technical team to bring us the guns video, how this all started. If they can just project that on the screen and let it play for a while, we will come back to it. Technical team. The shotgun, Jesus Christ. Guys, look at where I am. This is what our voices in the bushes needs. Which one is your favorite? This one. So what makes it your favorite? How many rounds is that? You fire one bullet. Well, take a lot of about 8 cartridges, about it spreads like this. Oh, okay. That was true. One Is this not an AK? Damn, that's it. How many buy gun for America, truly? That is 550. Okay. Thank you very much, technical team. Thank you very much for that video. Fellow Ambalanders, unfortunately, this video, we didn't see how the whole studio was, what motivated this project. Like I said before in the beginning, today we are here just to appeal to Ambazonians. And why are we here today? We have all suffered the pain of La Republique in our territory. There is nobody, I mean, no home in Ambazonia that has not been affected by the war in Ambazonia. If your home has not been razed down, if your parents have not been killed, if your sister has not been raped, if your younger ones have not been molested on the streets, if your farmland has not been destroyed, if your car has not been seized or your motorbike, something must have been happened in your life in Ambazonia as an Ambazonian. And this has changed our mindset. Before, we wanted to come out as peaceful protesters and just ask for what rightfully belongs to us. But when they came to us with aggression, when they looked at us and felt that we do not deserve the right to be heard, or we do not deserve a right to have our own nation, or even our own rights to be protected, we felt that it was time for us to stand and defend ourselves. We've seen Ambazonians that have fallen. We saw our brothers killed in our presence, gathered in their numbers, killed, and then their corpses set ablaze. These are all crimes that are happening within our territory, and the war has blinded its eyes to it. The United Nations has remained silent. And if you are a true Ambazonian and have seen what is happening on the streets of Ambazonia, our streets have been covered with blood multiple times since the start of this war. With your mother raped in front of you. You watch your own younger sister raped, molested by men in uniform and with guns. And that alone has pushed us all. It has changed, it has hardened us to an extent. You see children that have not even said hello or even uttered the word mommy, killed. That is the case of baby Martha. We've not forgotten about that. We saw what happened to Sam Sawyer, how he was killed and his body chopped into pieces as though it was a piece of animal. We have seen all of this. We saw the painful image of Mami Api, who was roasted in her own sleep, and many other people that have been killed in their homes, with their homes set ablaze. All of this is in our memories. And if you are one of those Ambazonians that is quick to forget, I am here today with the president for us to go back in time and remember why we are here. We didn't get up and just start picking guns to defend, to start fighting. But that notwithstanding, we all have a right to defend ourselves and a right to self-determination. As an Ambazonian, it is in our spirit, like what we have seen has burdened us a lot, that whenever you see a gun, the only thing you think of is, how can this get to the fighters, the brave heroes on ground zero who have dedicated themselves, who have given up their life, their livelihood, their education, their businesses, their families, and everything that they own to make sure that Ambazonia becomes a homeland. The video you watch is just one of the many videos made by one person out of the 8 million, which I believe you will attest with me that each time you walk past a gun shop, the only thing you have in your mind is, how can I get these guns down to our boys on the ground, to the fighters on the ground? And that is my story in America. When I went on holidays in America, and instead of going to Gucci shops, buy Louis Vuittons, buy this, I told my younger sister, take me to a gun shop. And that is how I found myself in a gun shop. And when I see those guns, I saw them immediately in the hands of our fighters. And I thought of those days that fighters gave up. They had nothing but courage and the belief and the hope for Ambazonia, that Ambazonia will be free. They didn't mind what they had at their disposal at that time. They had machetes, they have guns, they have sticks, they have bow and arrows, they have spears, and to them, that was enough. They believed in something. They believed that Ambazonia deserved to be free. They believed that their children deserve to live in a place called a free homeland. They believed that they themselves have a right to enjoy of the benefits, the minerals of Ambazonia, the cash crop in Ambazonia, the things that produce money in Ambazonia. They knew that they could stand and defend the territory of Ambazonia, and they gave in all. So when I went into that studio or that shop, that gun shop, and I decided to make that video to share it with Ambazonians. And this is just one of many. I am sure that each time you go around and see these things, the only thing you have in your mind is how can this be transported down to ground zero? And when I see this, I discussed it with the president. We have over 8 million Ambazonians, fellow Ambazonians. We have Ambazonians across the world. Ambazonians, when I say Ambazonians, we have Ambazonians. People who are capable, financially buoyant. We have all of these people. And let me tell you something. If you think for 1 second that because you live in the Americas, because you are in China, you are in Japan, you are in Europe, you're in South Africa, or you're out of Ambazonia, you are free. I tell you, you are not. And if you are one of those people that when they ask you, where are you from? And you feel shy to say you're from Ambazonia because you don't want to be associated to the liberation cause of Ambazonia, and you tell yourself, I'm from Cameroon. I bet you human beings are so good at disappointing us, because the next question that often comes after that one is, where are you from? Then you say from Cameroon. They will ask you, what part of Cameroon? So you can't shy away from it. So I can promise you, you will not want to tell yourself that I'm from French Cameroon, because you know the stigma that comes with it. You know that even telling yourself that you're from Cameroon, you are in pain within you. So why not truly stand out and tell yourself, I am an Ambazonian. And if I want to see a free Ambazonia, I need to take up responsibility. I need to join in the fight for the liberation of Ambazonia. So as you saw that video, if you're motivated, like I was, and like any other person that watched it and was motivated and told themselves, if I can use 1,500 to buy a Gucci bag, if I can use 1,500 to buy a pair of shoes from Christian Louboutin or Louis Vuitton or Moschino or whatever brand you're dealing with these days, you can tell yourself that I can sacrifice this 1,500 or 2,000 to make sure that the people who have given up their livelihood on ground zero, our soldiers, our brothers and our sisters, the young men of our community, I can give them one of these, not just to defend themselves, first to defend themselves, and then their block, their mothers, their fathers, their younger ones, their siblings, and also your own siblings whom you've left back home. Bringing your parents to America or to Europe or to any other part of the world thinking that you're saving them is not enough. There's always a place called home, and that place home is Ambazonia. And we're here today to call on you all, Ambazonians. Those of you who are relaxing, and each time they talk about Ambazonia, you say that will not thing. It is not our thing, Ambalanders. It is not our thing. No be what thing, now our thing altogether. That's what I'm saying in essence, because that is what the tendency, that's what people say these days. That will not thing. The funny thing is, it's not our thing. We are all in this same pot. Like the climate change weather conferences will come and say we are in the same boat, we are in the same ship. If it sinks, we all sink. That is what is happening with Ambazonia. We are in the same boat, in the same ship, and the survival of that ship depends on us all, on our intelligence, on our abilities to provide, on our advice, on anything that is useful to the liberation of Ambazonia. So if you don't want to sink, if you think it is our thing, I bet you if it sinks, we all sink. So I am calling on Ambazonians, especially those Ambazonians who have fallen back and those that from the start continue to stay or sit on the fence because they want to see how far this will go. We can truly say for the past 5 years, we've seen how far we've gone. And Before I bring in the president, I would just like you to reflect on the video that was projected. And also, I want to call on the studio to bring us images of men and women who have sacrificed their lives to make sure that we have a place tomorrow called a free Ambazonia. So, studio, if you have those images, please can you pull them up for us? Let Ambazonians be reminded. Let them be reminded that this is not a joke. We are out here because we've been pushed to be where we are today. So let's studio, if you're ready, we are ready. Fellow Ambalanders, I would just want to pass over to the president to talk before I come back to those pictures and images. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Madam Former Spoke. You talked of a kind of gun called Louis Vuitton. I've never heard of that gun.
I said a lady's handbag or shoes, or it's a brand. So
because I've been buying all sorts of guns, I've never heard of that one, and I was like, is it only in the US or?
We want to make a gun called the Louis Vuitton gun for ladies. All those ladies who shop Louis Vuitton, they should convert their Louis Vuittons to AKs, and we will give it the AK, the Louis Vuitton name for AKs.
Thank you very much. I don't know why you gave me the microphone. I was listening to you, and honestly, I was moved with the passion, the depth of the conversation. And your story is very passionate. It didn't just end with you walking into a gun shop. When you came back, you paid for your own gun. $2,000 for an AK-47. And that's true heroism. And that shows that no matter where we are as Ambazonians, whether we are merrymaking, whether we are just having fun with families, we have in us, a feeling of remembrance of what is going on in our homeland. So, fellow Ambazonians, I read a message from a comrade who said 200 AK-47 is not enough. That's true. It's not enough. But if you understand the way that my leadership has been shaped, it is based on reality. It is not based on fiction. I understand the difficulties of our circumstances. I understand our geopolitical realities, and I understand the what 60 years or 61 years of colonial oppression and economic exclusion has done to our people. So I take it block by block, making sure Ambazonians are not overwhelmed with the demands we make, because they are already sacrificing in blood, torment, and I make sure that we have a holistic plan, but we introduce that plan in different phases. You know where we are. 5 years into this war, you know exactly where we are. If there is any doubt about the strength of Ambazonian consciousness and the reality about Ambazonia's independence, the 1st of October is a living witness to the reality that we are inside. No sovereign state in the world that claims to have control over the entirety of its territory could have watched the amount of men and women in arms on the 1st of October, whether it was Ngoki Tungia, Fako Meme, Manu Mezam Momo, and still has the courage to control over that territory, or still under any cynicism or illusion believe someday they will have control over that territory, have their laws take root, the administrators back in their positions, and have claim over the territory of Ambazonia. If Cameroon had any illusion, was sleepwalking, October 1, 2022 was a death knell on Cameroon. And if you ever lacked hope, if you were a cynist who never believed in the reality of our time, October 1 was a projection of reality that should be tattooed in your brain forever. We are free. What we need is just one solution now, one, nothing else. What you saw on October 1 is a constant. It's going to remain there. What we need to do now is to take territory and prevent the enemy from getting inside. If they have remnants of their forces in certain places, we should eliminate those remnants, consolidate our gains in those areas, prevent any incursion whatsoever into those areas, use them as habitat, refuge, reserve areas for IDPs, returning refugees, and to protect our schools. You all know that in the past 5 years, our forces have engaged in guerrilla tactics. They have been able to control territory in a dynamic way, which I have explained severally in the past years. That strategy has been deliberate because you do not have airdrops of weapons and bullets. You must not make the mistake of providing a battlefield for a conventional fight with the enemy that outguns you and outmans you. And we have also made sure that dynamic control imposes a higher cost on the enemy, where they can still continue to pay their soldiers in limited outposts, a civil servant in certain areas, but they do not have the possibility of exploiting economic benefit. But I think we are up to the task at this moment to be able to drive La République completely out of many states. We have the men. We don't have enough guns. And as I wrote after the former spokes explained her experience in the United States, I said every defense force operating within Ambazonia should see the plan of taking territory, completely driving La Republic out and consolidating our gains as the only plan going forward. Between now and October 1, we should not only showcase our forces, we should be able to present to the Ambazonian people our first elected mayors in totally free areas. And this is also important. You know, one of the reasons why sometimes you perceive the Ambazonian resistance as being divided is because you see different defense forces in different areas defending different blocks with different names. In our meeting in London with the APLM leader of Dr. Okwanga, one of the things we agreed that apart from this Ambazonian Governing Council exclusive plan, the Ambazonian Governing Council is going to work together with the APLM, and that the ADF and SOCADEF can also work together to ensure that we can drive La Republic out of a particular state. Going forward, once we free a state, we will establish within that state the Ambazonian army. It is now going to become the Ambazonian army within that freed state. And denizens from that state will become part of the army. Other defense forces with whom we have worked together will set up a command and control for the state of Ambazonia. They will have the Air Force, they will have the Marines, they will have the Special Forces as the Ambazonian army. It can only exist in a static controlled area where the enemy cannot get in. We will progressively, once we establish that free place, use it also for training purposes and to make sure that we push into the next state. We push into the next and hope we collapse the enemy's resistance within our territory. We have the men, we have the conviction, we have the determination, we need the guns. If every Ambazonian coming in here, I think we've launched this maybe about a month ago. So far we have, I think we are close to 90,000 US dollars from the persons who have signed up to buy a gun each. Some people have to buy a gun and to buy the bullets for that gun. On each gun, the initials of your name will be engraved so that you will be remembered for the contribution you have made and the commitment you have made for the freedom of your country. There is no other way and there is no joke. As La Republique prepares transition in its country, we must be ready to drive the last remnants of their forces and to take over our land. And I know it has been difficult. I know there is economic crisis. I know you've sacrificed. And I know you have complaints. But Ambazonians, we should stop complaining. We should stop blaming A, blaming B, and always excusing ourselves. The days you've spent complaining, you've still seen men fought the enemy. You've still seen men and women celebrate independence. So translate your complaints into a gun. Translate your anger into a gun. Translate every anger you have into buying a gun for our people.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ambalanders, you heard the eagle himself. He said, stop complaining. For God's sake, Ambalanders, let's stop complaining. Let's stop throwing bullets and stop fighting one another. Let's start acting. Translate that anger into a gun. That is what Ground Zero needs. And before I go ahead and open the lines for you to call in and make your contribution. Studio, I want you to once again project those pictures of our fallen heroes, those that have given up their lives for Ambazonia. Let this sink in the minds of Ambazonians. I want Ambazonians to have these images in their heads, in their minds, as they go back to their homes and lie down in their beds. I want them to think of these images, these young men and women who have given up their lives to make sure that we have a free homeland. Fellow Ambalanders, I want this to go round and then I will come back in. Please, as you watch, kindly share in the various forums where you belong. This is a call of responsibility to protect. We all have the responsibility to protect our homeland. So if you are in any forum, push this live streaming to that forum and let people come on board. Call people on the phone and let them come on board, because we all need to be here as a collective people to support the liberation of our homeland. Okay. Thank you very much, Studio, for those projections. If you can just take that off the screen now, I will come back in. Okay, Ambalanders, as you saw yourself, we saw General Ivan Ba, our fallen hero. General Ivan Ba single-handedly changed the face of this revolution. He wasn't just a general of Ambazonia or the ADF general. He was a father. He was a son to somebody. He was a husband to somebody. He was a brother to somebody. He was maybe your cousin. I know for a fact I'm meeting with his brother in days to come here in Dublin. They didn't just kill him, but his entire family was the target of La République du Cameroon and is still the target of La République du Cameroon. His parents are hiding on a daily basis because their son decided that he will no longer watch his parents humiliated, insulted by a government that feels it has authority over them. He decided that he was going to stand up, fight for himself, fight for his brothers, defend his mothers, and defend his neighborhood. He was taken out. I want you to remember that he was not just a general for Ambazonia, but he was these things that I have mentioned. He was a father. He was a brother. He was an uncle to somebody. He was a husband. That woman today has become a young widow, a single mother to raise kids all by herself. Her parents, his parents today are without a son. That is the price that he paid to make sure Ambazonia is liberated. And I want you to think for a moment, if what he sacrificed his life for is something worth defending, or is something worth throwing under the bus and telling people that is not Ambazonian thing. I want you to reflect on that. We also have, here with us, we also have Sapiro. Like I said, that is a young man who decided that he will not sit and watch his neighborhood constantly harass his neighbors, his family, his brothers and his sisters raped, his younger ones left unprotected, undefended. He decided that he will not continue to live in a society where he does not even have the voice to speak up when he feels or when he sees injustice. He picked up his weapon. And it didn't matter what weapon he picked up. All he needed was hope and the belief of free Ambazonia. And that is what he did. He believed in a free Ambazonia. He believed that even if he doesn't live to see the liberated Ambazonia, his younger ones will see Ambazonia liberated, or the generation yet unborn will not go through the same struggle, oppressions that he's gone through in his Ambazonians fighters with what they need to defend that neighborhood where he was cut shot. That is being a patriotic citizen. That is standing up and taking up responsibility. That is believing in the cause and fighting to defend the memories of those that gave up their own very life at the very prime of their life to make sure Ambazonia is liberated. I want to talk also about Nginyam. We all know who he was. The Bansa people they're still mourning till this day because of Nginyam. Ambalanders, he was a peaceful man. He was the most humbled soldier with a gun. He only fought for the liberated Ambazonia. He knew that the only thing he could offer his community, the only thing he could offer his blood was to defend it. And that is why he defended it with the very last drop of his blood. He did everything to bring peace in his neighborhood. He did everything to unite the people together. But one thing he didn't forget was the fact that he was an Ambazonian, and he had the responsibility to fight and defend Ambazonia, liberate Ambazonia, and hand Ambazonia, a free Ambazonia, to the younger ones, to his brothers, to a generation that is yet unborn. That is a soldier who sacrificed his life to make sure Ambazonia is liberated. What are you, who is alive today, doing to make sure Ambazonia becomes Ambazonia? Ambazonia is liberated. These are all people's children. These are all people's neighbors. Ginya maybe was your neighbor. Maybe was your primary school schoolmate. Maybe you sat with him on the same desk in school. Because I know many of them who have fallen that we went to school together. Maybe you learned the same trait with him. Maybe you play football with him in the neighborhood. Maybe you went to church with him or to the mosque with him. He was somebody's husband. He was somebody's son. He was somebody's brother, for God's sake. But he knew that he had a responsibility to fight and liberate Ambazonia. He couldn't continue watching his people humiliated on a daily basis, oppressed by an army that was supposed to be fighting or protecting them. He decided that even if it means giving up my life, I will give it to make sure Ambazonia is liberated. These are the sacrifices that these people took into their own hands. They were steadfast, they were tenacious. They didn't blink at any point because they knew and believed in Ambazonia. They believed in a free Ambazonia. What do you believe in? What do you believe in? And what can you sacrifice to make sure Ambazonia is liberated? I want to talk about General Obi. They all defended their blocks. Like I said, if I want to start naming them one after the other, we will spend over 3 hours on this show. We are just one Ambazonians to think and reflect. If you've forgotten who you are, Ambalanders, I want you to reflect again and ask yourself, was it what the sacrifices that these people, their lives they have sacrificed, is it what I am doing? They sacrifice their lives to make sure that someday I'll go back to a free Ambazonia. Me being quiet, is that the right thing for me? General Obi fought a hero. He defended his blood. Like I said, he was a brother. He was a husband. He was a son. He was a cousin. He was an uncle. He was somebody's neighbor. He was a friend to somebody. There are some friends that are even more than brothers. He was somebody's schoolmate. Ask yourself, this man that was selfless and didn't think of anything else but his neighborhood to defend it and died for it, what can I also do to make sure that his sacrifices are not in vain? That is why we are here today, Ambalanders. If I start bringing up all the images, I don't want you to cry. Trust me, I don't need your tears. The thing, what I need is your money, because that's what they need. We've been crying for 5 years. We must come out of that that box of tears and crying and wailing. No, we should be strong and defend Ambazonia. Like they are strong defending Ambazonia under the rain, under the sun, under mosquitoes, honeys are biting them, midgets are biting them, they suffer injuries, they die with bullets, they walk, they march in chang shoes, and they don't even have food to eat. But yet, they believe in a free Ambazonia. What do you believe in? And what can you give? Is $1,000, one AK for one Ambazonian too much for us to ask you for a cause like liberating your homeland? We have General Hassan. General Hassan was a hero. He fought to his very last breath. He fought and defended his bloc. He made sure that his bloc was defended. And guess what? General Hassan was somebody's son. He was somebody's brother. He was somebody's husband. He was somebody's father, a friend, a niece, and so on and so forth. They believed in a free Ambazonia, and they decided to fight with the last drop of their blood to make sure Ambazonia is liberated. They didn't ask for much. All what they asked for was for us to stand with them, give them what they need to make sure Ambazonia is liberated. They didn't care. They didn't ask for any monthly salary to be paid before they defend Ambazonia. They didn't ask for any particular thing. All they asked for was our support and providing them with the weapons that they needed to defend themselves, defend their neighborhoods, defend their brothers, defend your properties that you build on a daily basis from abroad. That is all what they asked for. And today, those that are still alive fighting, that is the same thing they are asking for. They didn't care about their lives. They cared for a free Ambazonia. They didn't want to see their own children raised in an environment of oppression, raised in an environment where they don't have voices to speak. They didn't want to see their own children humiliated, molested by men and women in uniforms. They knew they had to fight for a liberated Ambazonia, and they did so heroically, and they defended their blocks. What are you willing to sacrifice? We have Chief Ali, and we have many of them. John Paul, we have them all. We have even Israel. That is the brother, the elder brother of the deputy leader of the Ambazonian War of Independence, the deputy leader of the president of the Ambazonian War of Independence, who is today languishing in jail in Condé. We have all of them. I don't want to forget our hero. She sacrificed her life. That is a woman of valor. Being a true hero or a heroine doesn't mean you have to achieve the best certificates in the war or receive the best awards and all that. This was a woman who saw her fellow women raped, molested, dragged in mud, their children yet unborn, those in the womb, killed even before they came out to this miserable war. Those that were just 6 months old, killed, and their bodies burned. Should we be talking about the Ngagbo massacre? Should we talk about those in Bali? Should we talk about the Tibeng massacre? Should we talk about various massacres in Manu, Mayemen, in Munyege, all those places? Should we start mentioning them? All those people died because they believe in the freedom of Ambazonia. You are here today. What do you stand for? What are you fighting for? We are calling on you all Ambazonians to come out in your numbers and support the warriors that are fighting on the ground. The ones that have given up their lives to make sure Ambazonia is liberated. Stand with them so that we can have a liberated Ambazonia. Should I talk about General Enes? I want to bring those names to you because I want you to remember that these are people who have sacrificed their lives so that Ambazonia can be liberated. I have a very long list and I don't want to, and I will be mentioning them. And when I mention them, I want you to reflect. I knew this guy in my neighborhood. I knew this guy when I was in primary school. I knew this guy in the university. I knew him. I want you to reflect. We've heard of General Ivor, his bravery, how he defended Ambazonia, how he fought for Ambazonia, how he gave La République the worst nightmare of their own time. Until today, they are still trembling. We have AYABA. We have General Cross. We have them all. We have Wobo. We have Smoley, as we've brought up. We have Forte. We have Timaya. We have Obi. We have Deko. We have Nginya. We have Israel. We have Ebube. We have Forest. We have Small Sami. We have Dada. we have Koraman, we have Boss Acid, we have Opopo, and the list goes on. We have Boss Dave, we have Neville, we have Lake, we have Dino, we have Black Jay, we have Zion, we have Ikiku, we have Divine, we have Ngole, we have Wazuzu, we have Boss Timaya, we have all of these people. These are young men, Ambalanders, young men whose lives have been cut short at the very prime of their life, but they didn't mind at all to sacrifice their life to make sure Ambazonia was liberated. And I ask you, how much are you willing to sacrifice? What would it cost you to stand and hit your chest and say, when Ambazonia was fighting for its freedom, I sacrificed 1,000, 2,000 to buy an AK to make sure that our fighters were able to stand against the oppression of the Republic. These are boys who started with nothing but with 10 guns. They were courageous enough to take out 10 guns and go and face an army with sophisticated weapons. Weapons that are used to fight terrorists across the world. But they were willing. They believed in Ambazonia and they went out in their numbers to fight. And they fought bravely with 10 guns. They took out spears, bows, and arrows and they went out. They wore jam shoes. They didn't mind. They didn't mind the weather. They didn't mind anything. They didn't care about uniforms. They didn't mind. They didn't care about anything that was sophisticated. All they cared about was a liberated Ambazonia. And they hoped that Ambazonia will be liberated. And they gave their life fighting for that liberated homeland. So today I am calling on all Ambazonians. Sacrifice that bag that you're planning to buy. Sacrifice that pair of shoes that you're planning to buy, because no single person can put 2 pairs of shoes on his feet at the same time. You have many of them lying down in your wardrobe. And if you want to buy another one, I want to tell you that there will always be shoes coming up every day. Why not sacrifice that 1 pair of shoes so we can defend Ambazonia and liberate Ambazonia? Why not sacrifice that dress? Why not sacrifice that handbag and let us liberate Ambazonia for our people? Because no matter where we find ourselves in this world, home remains home. Home will always be home. If you like it or not, stay in Europe. You will one day feel that hunger just to go home and take a bath in the stream in your village. Just to go home and walk in the mud, just to have that feeling once again. Just to go home and pluck fresh mangoes from your mango tree and eat. Just to go home and pluck fresh pawpaw from your pawpaw tree and eat. That is the feeling. Suppress it as much as you want. I bet you it always comes back on. And it is only home that you can have true peace and respect. So fellow Ambalanders, like I said, I don't want you crying or complaining or calling people names, those AGOFC people, no, leave AGOFC people, focus on Ambazonia. Ambazonia is the goal here. Let's liberate Ambazonia. Many people have come out to cry, 5 years, our children have not been going to school. Our children, this is the time, if you truly want your children to be in school, we have a well-structured and developed Ambazonian curriculum system that was built based from experience, best practices from different parts of the world, and we have the best of it. And we cannot successfully implement that educational system if we still have bullets flying over the heads of our kids. We can't implement that successfully if bullets are still flying everywhere over our kids. What we must do, Abalanda, is to liberate territories and keep it. In those liberated territories, our children can successfully go to school without any fear that bullets will be flying all over their face and their heads, without any fear that they will sit in the classroom and La Republic military will bomb in and start raping children at 4. Fellow Ambalanders, I call to your consciences. you have thousands and thousands of euro banked up in your account. Why not take out 2,000 to buy a gun that can liberate your brother, can liberate your neighborhood, and defend your properties that you spend millions or thousands of euros or dollars building back home? This is what they asked for. A commander on the ground said to Dev Chair, if you give us just 200 acres, I promise you we will change the face of things in Ground Zero. And most of you who come up here and complain, we've been contributing, I want you to know that 20 euros that you contribute cannot buy a gun. The fighters need to feed. They need constant medical care. Their children need to be taken care of. As they sacrifice their lives to come and fight, you should be able to sacrifice a token to take care of their families. And now we'll be opening the phone lines for you to come on, be part of this project. On this project, let it be your baby. Run with it. Tell yourself, I want tomorrow to say, during the time of the Ambazonian War of Independence, I was able to buy a stick to a soldier. Even if you didn't fight, that stick fought for you on Ground Zero. So we'll be opening up the phone lines for you to call in and contribute. Mr. President, do you know, before I came into the studio this evening, I was watching your news, and I watched a program on global politics and on Euro News, and a lady was interviewing the president of the International Criminal Court on the invasion of Ukraine and the war crimes that are being committed in Ukraine. Would you believe that the United Nations Human Rights Council has already sent an independent inquiry body to Ukraine to investigate the human rights violations in Ukraine? This is something that happened in just 8 months. An independent body has already been dispatched to the Ukraine, and they were now analyzing the human rights violations in Ukraine, and they were talking about rape of even young men and women by the Russian army, and they're planning on how they'll be persecuted at the International Criminal Court. And I asked myself, when did Ukraine start? When did Ambazonia start? How many does it? How long have we been calling on the international community, the Human Rights Council, the United Nations to send an independent inquiry commission into Ambazonia to investigate the human rights violations in Ambazonia? We have witnessed the worst forms of human rights violations, and yet we have not had that. And I want to tell Ambazonians with this, United Nations is not coming to your rescue. We called them, they've refused to come. But you will not continue to sit and wash your street filled with blood. What we need to do is to make sure the streets of Ambazonia are no longer in blood, that we walk on dry land to defend those folks.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. As our people ponder over the names that you've been calling, the fallen heroes, we are the only people that I know that their brave warriors will give so much, receive nothing back. But they have so much been bastardized, banalized, attacked. La Republique sends its soldiers in our land to rape, to burn homes, wipe out more than 1,000 villages. When they return, they are given medals. They are paid salaries. They are honored. You find brave Ambazonians who've taken up arms, and for the little infractions that they cause, you have Ambazonians all over social media calling them names, kidnappers, just to score cheap points. No matter what an American soldier does out of America, they bring that soldier home. No matter what an Israeli does, no matter what a Palestinian does, no matter what a Syrian does, and in Ambazonia, for the bravery of these men, we will not blink at any one moment. And I want to tell you, Madam Spokes, we will investigate the crimes, and we promise the world and the United Nations there will be no life sentences. There will be death penalty. Maybe if the United Nations had come, some of these war criminals would have been whisked away to the International Criminal Court and locked up somewhere in the comforts of some jails in London. We, the Ambazonian people, will investigate those crimes and will hold these people accountable. Even their dead bodies will be dug out of graves and make sure that they are buried in the cemetery of shame. I also want to remind our people that 5 years ago we came to you with a liberation plan that had 3 components. Targeted diplomacy, make sure that we can speak to diplomats about our own story. Make sure our own voices are heard directly. Internationalization. We knew from the beginning that the enemy will rely on domesticating this resistance, on being able to be the only voice internationally, making sure we don't have access to civil societies across the globe, making sure we don't have access to advocates, policymakers, and game changers. We decided through different actions internationally to make our story heard, the plight of our people told in the most poignant of ways that we could. We have internationalized our struggle. The Ambazonian story has been told by the BBC, the CNN, Sky News, DW, Al Jazeera, SABC, and most importantly, New York Times and other international outlets. Our brave advocates have walked the corridors of the Senate. Some have gone into the House of Commons, the House of Lords, the German Parliament. They've been on the streets to be able to speak to ordinary persons about the story of Ambazonia, the first democracy in the continent of Africa that was hijacked and sold to La République du Cameroon. We also told you diplomacy not backed by force is important, and that we will rise up with our bare hands, with our brains and our arrows to make sure we march La République in every block, bullet for bullet. I flew into the creeks. I spent weeks looking for guns. We lost thousands of dollars. We sent men, Carvey, the deaf chair, and others. And we set up a barrack in Ambazonia, in Dadi. And to make sure I tell the men and women that we were commissioning to fight, that we can take equal risk, I flew in there to commission the Ambazonian Defense Forces. It has now risen to become the army. It has inspired the creation of other brigades across the territory. We started using IEDs as far back as 5 years ago because we knew it was an asymmetric warfare. We trained ourselves in the technology. We could pop an IED from out here. And that's why another component of this campaign is improved sophistication of the next generation of IEDs that has been commissioned by the Defense Chair of the War Council to make sure that we can meet up with certain expectations of our people and our defense strategy. So Ambazonians, the strategy that we put in place has brought us to where we are today. And we have demonstrated that the enemy, though powerful, with powerful friends, that we can become advocates out here. We can become trained diplomats and be able to convince others. They hatch a cynical so-called Swiss process to slow us down. We beat them in the game. We identified the errors. We pointed them out. We educated the international system on how you can set up a credible architecture for negotiation that from the beginning is what its name, that will make both parties commit to talk about La Republic's timetable of withdrawal. We've stood our grounds. We've projected Ambazonian consciousness and Ambazonian sovereignty. It's time to defend that sovereignty completely. At this moment, what we need to do is to make sure that we put in enough AK-47. Just last week, we have put in machine guns and RPGs, which are also important components. We don't want to bring these components into this particular campaign. But these heavy weapons are very important for deterrence. They are very important for the projection of power. And they are very important also for what the power or suppression, to suppress enemies while you have assault forces to move into position. The IED is critical, as we said, when these enemies committed massacres. And we made a promise to you that IEDs will be the game changer to stop them moving into certain places and committing massacres. And you've seen that the number of massacres have reduced. The next generation of IEDs is being developed to make sure that we can slow them down completely or stop them from reinforcing certain areas. That we need enough men well armed with enough bullets to be able to take territory, hold them, consolidate. As the spokeslady said, we have, after 5 years of stopping you going to school, open our community schools. La Republique, as we saw the other day, went into a school, attacked it. It was a Catholic school. Make sure students don't go to school to take part in this dilapidated, archaic curriculum of education that has made us slaves. We've now given you the opportunity to own your own education system, to be able to design, be part of the designing of your own curriculum of education that based on competence.
Okay, Mr. President, I think our calls have started coming in. Hello, comrade. You're live and direct on the Operation 200 AKs.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Achumba.
Welcome on board.
Calling in to confirm my AK coming. I'm paying fully for my AK.
Wow.
I already sent in the money from Canada, so the Canada mission will send the money to you guys. So, shake no day.
Shake no day, comrade. Your place day. Your place day. Thank you very much.
So, that AK, they come out.
Come rain, come shine. Shake no day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So my AK already be ready. So I know I hear say this will delay it because AK they know the AK already my AK already down.
Thank you, comrade. Shake no day. Our place day off. Thank you very much, Mr. President. That was our first AK.
I thank Una for what we are ready to do. Una continue to do, and God will bless Una, protect Una, especially with CIC.
Exactly.
Ahead.
Ahead.
I want to go back to house. I want to go back home. So I say this so that we and Una will tell we go back home. So
exactly.
That AK so is not joking. And the AK be blessed.
Exactly. That's it. Okay. Thank you very much, comrade. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And that's the spirit of Ambazonia. Thank you. Just before you go, like you say, shake no day. And I just want to say your place day off. As you don't put your AK, please don't end there. Talk to your neighbor, talk to your friend, talk to your colleagues. Tell them what is happening in Ambazonia. Whatever they bring on board, it will definitely go a long way to support our IDPs and the people and our voices in the bushes. Right.
Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, comrade. What I want to to tell Ambazonians is that our strategy has been very effective. Though it has been disrupted internally and externally, it has been extremely effective. There is no war of liberation, the kind of uncertainties and chaos that sometimes we see. It is natural. We have developed countermeasures to manage disruptions. We also are facing a social media barrage, infiltration by the enemy to make sure that they can disrupt us. But we have a story that is impeccable. We have a plan that cannot be disrupted. It can only be delayed. So you should when we come out to put this program, it is because we understand fully that at this stage of our struggle, if we do not up our game.
Okay. Mr. President, I'll cut you there for a while. Hello. Welcome live to Operation 200. Shake, no day. Nobody to move.
I am sorry if I interrupted, but I think it's important for me to say a word or two.
Right.
And unfortunately, I feel like these are situations where it's not a speech-making ceremony.
Exactly.
To take our eyes off the ball. So I'll go direct to the point.
Shoot.
$1,000. This is Cambridge from the US.
Your place day, shaking no day.
Yeah, and for those that think this thing does not affect them directly or indirectly, like you said, people say that will not think. I feel so sorry for them because these are the same people who wrote the GCE and they were happy that they passed or their families passed. Ended up at the University of Boya, happy that they made it to the University of Boya, never knowing that people died to see these things for us to enjoy today. And today we are asking just a mere token for our brave warriors that have stood to gain our independence and they're talking rubbish. Please, Ambazonians, this is not that one I think. This is our thing. It affects us all, whether we like it or not.
Exactly.
It affects us all.
We are all in the same way.
Don't sit in your corner and say that one I think. This is our thing.
Exactly.
And by the way, as history would put it, you want to always be on the right side of history. This is history we are making.
Exactly.
Do not be that person in the future who will sit and say, had I known. No, this is the time. History is being made now. Please be on the right side of history.
Exactly.
Shake no day.
Shake no day. Aluta continua, comrade. Thank you very much. Thank you, fellow Ambalanders. You heard the comrade. Those are the people. Okay. Another call was coming in there. Like he said, this is not a speech-making call show. We will just go straight. So please, the lines are open. Keep calling, keep trying. If somebody is on the line, just keep calling. Immediately that person goes off, you will definitely come through. So, Mr. President, right, go ahead, sir.
This Operation 200 AK is a do or die.
Right.
I have informed Ambazonians across the globe. I will be going to every country to make sure that Ambazonians organize themselves to mobilize money for this project. As I said, we are already at about 90,000, which is just about 40 AKs. I'm calling on Belgium, Germany, the comrades in Denmark, Sweden, Canada, Australia, to prepare and mobilize for town halls, dinner evenings, for us to make sure that we mobilize these resources. We will not, and Ambazonians on the ground will not accept that we are entering into next year without fundamental changes in the demography and the geography, and that our soldiers cannot continue on a daily basis be killed and be wounded, and they are being taken to be treated in areas that the enemy still has access to, and that we must have areas where the enemy does not have access to, so that even if a soldier is wounded in one area, irrespective of which brigade is functioning there, we are able to move this soldier into an area that is secure, into a medical facility that we have built, and be treated and redeployed if possible. I know Ambazonians sometimes are still thinking and contemplating, no, La Republic is not coming back. It's game over. So if you fold your hands, we'll be fighting for the next 20 years. But if you say to yourself, despite our shortcomings, despite all the ups and downs that we are facing, I believe that the past 5 years has demonstrated itself that the strategy we've put in place has worked, that I'll commit. I'm not only asking commitment from Ambazonians who are in exile. There are Ambazonians on ground zero who are endowed enough to be able to project this. I have an Ambazonian on ground zero who's already buying 2 RPGs.
Okay, Mr. President, I'll take this call. Hello, comrade. You're live and direct on the Operation 200 AK show.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Are you calling to contribute to the AK project?
I've just upon my television, I see the program going on.
Okay. So do you want to contribute?
So you people I don't really know the topic, but I just wanted to appreciate you for your good work.
Thank you very much, comrade. So this is the Operation 200 AK project that we want to raise. We want Ambazonians across the world to galvanize themselves and purchase 200 AKs for our fighters on the ground. So that is why we are here. We are not here for any other thing, but to generate and harvest AKs. If you want to contribute to that, you're very much welcome. Okay, thank you very much for calling, comrade, and I hope you're all safe on ground zero.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
So there comes a time in the lives of a people, as I said to a couple of comrades, you will have Ambazonia is a plurality of different cultures and different mindset and different sets of persons. We've had enough excuses. I call them excuses because they were deliberately injected to deviate. All struggles have been marred by the conflict in ideology and conflict in strategy. But the uniqueness of our struggle is that we all agree that the end game is full sovereignty, independence from Cameroon. At the beginning,
Mr. President, before you go ahead, I want to bring this in another way. I want to ask you, what would it mean for fighters, let me say in the Northern Zone, to have 200 AKs, or just a single block to have 200 AKs? What is that to that particular block?
Before I get to that, we all agree today, even though we disagreed yesterday, that self-defense is central to the survival of Ambazonia. And self-defense is the most critical instrument to regain our territory. When we see how the men started, we saw they had courage, Jiangsu's few weapons. They've upgraded with sophisticated weapons. Exactly. They have dispersed 200 AK is going to help in concentration.
I'll take this call, Mr. President. Hello, comrade. You're live and direct on the Operation 200 AK show. Hello?
I'm calling for Yaoundé. Yeah, I'm calling for Yaoundé.
Okay. Do you want to contribute to the show, comrade?
I want to contribute for the. Yeah, I want to contribute.
Okay. Perfect. The payment portals are all displayed on the screen. If you look at the screen, because I'm sure you're watching us live and direct in Yaoundé, you will see the various payment portals. And how much are you contributing, comrade? Okay, thank you very much. That is very much appreciated. Please, you can follow the payment portals that are displayed on the screen, and you can channel your contribution via those portals. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that was one of our comrades back. Well, he's hiding somewhere in La Republique. That's why he didn't want to call his name. And we appreciate him for putting down 50,000 amber. That can go a long way to provide medical support to our fighters and can, of course, buy some bullets for our fighters. So I will still encourage you, comrades. The payment portals are displayed on the TV. If the technical team will display those payment portals as often as possible so that people will see the various channels through which they can put in a channel their support, that will be very much appreciated. So, comrade, thank you for calling your place day up and for braving all the odds to call at the very heart of La Republique. Thank you, Mr. President. You may go ahead.
As with respect to your question, what will 200 AK do? I will not go detailedly into the strategy that the War Council has put in place. But the objective is to make sure we drive La Republique. We have forces across vast swath of areas. They are connected. And we have core and peripheral brigades. We need to increase the amount of materials in the hands of our core brigade. Our peripheral brigades will be disruptive brigade, assault brigade, search and destroy brigade. The core brigade will be consolidation brigade, protection brigade, and they will give an opportunity for us to showcase freed areas within our territory that Ambazonian army can take root and our institutions and people can be protected, and we have wounded fighters can be treated without being snatched from hospital bed and murdered without any remorse in front of hospitals.
Wow. So, Amberlanders, you heard it from the leader's mouth. This is how important this project is to the liberation of Ambazonia. 200 AKs. They might sound very small, little, but trust me, if we will arm one block with 200 AKs, I just want you to begin to envisage or imagine if all the fighters, the young men who have sacrificed, the young men and women who have sacrificed their lives to fight for this struggle, were handed AKs each. Do you know what they would have done in ground zero? Just imagine the number of territories we would have liberated by now. We have men and women ready to fight. Why are we that we have freedom, our lives, our peaceful sleeps, and bullets not flying all over us, not able to sacrifice to make sure that these people, they have at least what it takes to be alive and then protect those around them? I ask you this question again, and I say, what is preventing you from stepping up and accepting who you are? You should be proud to say you are an Ambazonian. You should be proud to say you are an Ambazonian, because I can promise you, I'm not sure you will boldly say I am a Cameroonian. You cannot, because you know what that means. And I want you to remember that where we are, there is no turning back. I promise you there is no turning back. Just imagine for a second that we drop our arms today and we say, okay, we want to surrender. Do you know what La Republic will do to our people? That is to say, we've been foolish and stupid. We didn't know what we were doing. Of course, we know exactly what we are doing. Before engaging or starting this journey, we knew there would be consequences, but we were all ready to say it is time for us to put an end to the slavery, to the enslavement, to the oppression, and that is what we are doing. Mr. President, do you know that there are Ambazonians across the world that are running helter-skelter, supporting Ukrainian refugees? The same Ambazonians who have never sent out a kobo to support their own refugees suffering back in Nigeria and IDPs within Ambazonian territory, or even wounded soldiers or their prisoners locked up in the dungeons of La Republique. Ambalanders, stop trying to be a hero where you are not wanted. Okay. Hello. Hello. Please, can you just move a little bit from your... Great. Okay. Like I was saying, Mr. President, we have Ambazonians.
Let me get into that. Ambazonians like publicity for all the wrong reasons. We enjoy negative publicity for all the wrong reasons. We saw the other day how Ambazonian would go into ground one and
hello, welcome to the show, comrade. Hello, can you hear us? Okay, those were ground zero calls. So I hope they keep coming. And please, the lines are open, keep calling. This is a very important project. Like the president said, the Operation 200 AK is a die or do matter. If you want to see your homes back home still standing without them being raised down by fire or anything, you need to be part of this project. That's an insisting caller. I will make sure, I hope. Hello, comrade. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Great. I'm sure he will call back. He was calling directly, so I'm sure he'll definitely, she will definitely call back, whoever that is. That's a call from ground zero. So, Amberlanders, please, we've spent 5 years in WhatsApp forums, fighting, quarreling, arguing over what doesn't make sense, or over things that cannot save a life, or save even a tiny piece of Ambazonia. We are saying that we've outgrown that attitude, that mentality, move from speaking or complaining in forums and then into action. What ground zero needs is not grammar. What ground zero needs is not long messages. What ground zero needs are people that are willing to sacrifice just a little of what they have so they can survive on the ground. First of all, ground zero is bearing the cost. Ground zero sacrifice every Monday. They sacrifice their life, their businesses, everything to make sure Country Sunday is respected. We are here in the diaspora. We work 24/7. Why can't we sacrifice just a fraction of what we work Monday to Friday to support Ground Zero. This is what Ground Zero is asking from us. And there is nothing wrong with us sacrificing just 3 days of our 5 days salary in a week to make sure Ground Zero is stable. Amberlanders, I call on you all, come on board this project. Let's liberate homeland once and for all. Nobody will come and liberate Ambazonia for us. Ukrainians are there. The whole world is clamoring and supporting Ukraine with weapons, with humanitarian aid, with everything. You see Russia suffering sanctions upon sanction every day from the European Union, from America, from G7 leaders, from all the names, the big names you can think of. How many people have died in Ukraine in the past 8 months? How many? But how many have died in Ambazonia in the last 5 years? But look at what is happening to Ukraine. Look at the kind of support Ukraine is getting. That is to tell you that they don't care about us. They don't give a heck about us. We must defend ourselves. We must rise by ourselves and fight for our own freedom. Stop using your $100 or euro trying to go and support Ukrainian refugees because you think that by doing so, you are being a hero, or people will say you're being part of you have human feelings. Your brothers and sisters are dying every day, for God's sake. That is where your money should go. Hello, hello, hello. Hello.
Hello, Madam Secretary.
Yes, sir.
And hello to the Operation 200 AKs. This is the PS. I'm calling with the great news. One papa and one mommy in the United States has made a contribution of $2,000 to answer the president's call for an AK campaign.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Shake, shake, no day. Wow. Mr. President, I hope you heard that. That was your PS calling to give us that good news. And we just want to say big thumbs up to those mama and to that mama and that papa for healing to the president's call. Thank you very much, sir. Una place day up. We salute you now. Please let the calls keep coming. Over to you, Mr. President.
Thanks a lot. I want to extend my gratitude to the family and to the comrade on Ground Zero who has made a 50,000 AMBA contribution. I encourage Ambazonians in their various communities to mobilize. Any failure will have consequences, as we have been seeing in different areas in Ambazonia. There are dark forces that are emerging. Some are being created by Cameroon to wreak havoc in communities. There are opportunists that are trying to fill the ungovernable spaces, and they are creating discontent. The success of this project would ensure that we'll build a formidable force that does not only defend a captured and controlled territory, but it can extend its power into unstable areas and make sure that it can protect our people. We were on Twitter yesterday for an outreach, very successful. We will be on Twitter every week for this outreach, because we think this is a global campaign that should not only involve Ambazonians, but citizens across the globe who believe in the protection of peoples. I reminded the world how thousands of people are mobilizing resources for Ukraine, how they did for Kosovo, how they did for other countries that were under attack, and the failure by the United Nations to invoke the responsibility to protect leaves us with no other choice than to mobilize the world, the same way the ANC mobilized the world to make sure that there is galvanization against the apartheid system. South Africans, you have Ethiopians, you have others Kosovars, we have Kurdish, we have other peoples, Biafrans. We want to reach all of these people to make sure that a bottom-up approach to the protection of Ambazonia becomes the norm. So every week we will be on Twitter. We will be organizing dinner evenings across different cities in the United States, Europe, South America, and in different parts of the world to make sure that by March, we should be able to realize our objectives and move to the next phase. By next year, Ambazonia should be able to say to themselves that 6 years into this war, this is what concretely we own, not shared with the enemy. And I think this is just the beginning. Believe in it, it's going to work. Everything we've put in place has worked. It might have been delayed, interrupted, but it has brought Amazonia where it is today. I also thank a comrade in the United States who has provided, he'll be providing $7,000 US, 2,000 for the AK, 2,000 for the AK project, 5,000 for personal protection for our forces. We have forces that are operating under difficult circumstances in urban areas, and we need them to be in a position where enablers are taken out, those terrorizing our people like the Mojas are eliminated from the face of the earth. And I want to thank that comrade for providing another $5,000 to make sure that soldiers have pistols. We have to begin to build the kind of force that we think will become the Ambazonian army. And I'm very grateful that many people are responding, and many more, when they are reached, they will respond, because this is our last time.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. President and fellow Ambalanders. We weren't going to be here for 2 hours, 5 hours to make you to commit. We came here just to speak to your consciences, to lay out what we have in our hands, so you see exactly what Ambazonia needs. If you are still doubting that Ambazonia is just a fantasy or is an Alice Wonderland, I want you to know that all those people that we showed you, those heroes that have fallen, it's not a Nigerian movie. It's not Nollywood. That is reality. These are young men who have given up their lives to defend a homeland that is who we call your own country. The least you can do is to put yourself together, put resources together, and support the cause. If you think this is a joke, I warn you, I refer you back to the 1st October celebration videos across the globe. You saw Ambazonians in different parts of the world coming together to celebrate Ambazonia, to tell themselves that we are a people, we have a unique identity, and we have a place in the Commonwealth of Nations across the world. That is what Ambazonians did. And if, like a writer would say, that freedom is never given to anybody, it is taken. We must take our own freedom. We must take it at all costs. And we have people that are ready. Children, they sing our national anthem. They chant it wherever they go. And that is our pride. That is who we are. They chant it, they sing it, they are boastful of it, they sing it. And that is why you must put down money to make sure that this project is realized. We saw on the 1st of October, students in thousands in their numbers came out for the march past. You see, we've seen over the years how 11 February has been rubbished. We saw over the years how 20th May has been rubbished. Fête de Travail has been rubbished in Ambazonia. Erasing all those foreign celebrations in our territory. If this were a joke, we wouldn't be doing all of these things. Our people wouldn't be rejecting all of these colonial practices or names or whatever it is they call it. Our people, they are hungry. They hunger for freedom. Our children, they want to see a liberated homeland. Ambalanders, If God took you out of Ambazonia before 2016 to wherever you are on the surface of this earth, it's because he was preparing you for this, a time like this. He was preparing your resources for a time like this. So when duty calls, please answer to duty call and let us together liberate our homeland. Our forces came out in their numbers and demonstrated their strength. They showed La Republique who controls the territory. It was a show of strength, even though the international community or international media refused to showcase it. We all saw it, how it brought panic to La Republique du Cameroon. Ambalanders, it is no joke. Ambazonia is not a joke. It is a reality. And we have the duty, a responsibility to protect our homeland. So thank you all very much for tonight. Thank you. And this is just the pre-launch, like the president said. This is the pre-launch, and we are still coming back at the end of the month to officially to another launch. And this, it doesn't end here until freedom comes. Hey guys, until freedom comes, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Just like you go to work every day to put food on your table, that is how we need to supply Ground Zero with the necessary tools and weapons to make sure Ambazonia is free. Mr. President, any last words?
Thank you very much, Madam Spokeslady, for this very passionate plea to our people. Ambazonians, we have engaged in a journey of no return. And I am glad that I have been part of this journey. And I am glad that I have paid for my own AK-47. And I'm glad for all those who have committed to make sure that we can shorten this journey and to give our people hope. We are facing the worst enemy that any people have ever faced. People who one good morning took over our own land and turned us into their slaves, made you to stop believing in your own self, to stop thinking about your own flag and your own anthem, dismantle your institutions, exploited your resources to build an army with which they used to kill your children at point blank range. Who coexist with a people who murder our children in the depth of the night, pull their bodies in their own blood, put them in a house and burn it down? Which people coexist with people who walk into a hospital, pick up a wounded soldier, walks out, shoots the soldier in the premises of the hospital, and leaves the body there? Which people coexist with the people who sees a priest wrapped in the Ambazonian colors, speaking his mind about the necessity for our freedom? They sit him down, torture him, and murder him. We shall never coexist with Cameroon. And I want this to be tattooed in your brain, that despite our limitations as human beings, despite the fights we may have amongst ourselves, despite our quarrels and our shortcomings, the nightmare that visited us on the 1st of October 1961 has come to an end. And the bravery of our people in the past 5 years, who have risen up, who have sacrificed for both the flag, the territory, and their freedom, is something we must consolidate. And we consolidate by sacrificing more.
Yes, sir, Mr. Pierce. I like your course.
Hello. Are you still live?
I am live and direct, sir. If you want me to be here one more hour, I am down for it.
All right. So I've got another good news. You remember the moment ago I called and I said a father and one of our fathers and our mothers in the United States sent $2,000.
Yep.
Okay, they have added another $3,000, making it a total of $5,000 in support of the
Ambazonia, oh yeah. Somebody, please, if there's somebody on the chat line, let them shout. Please, this is something worth celebrating. And that is a true Ambazonia. Please go ahead. I'm just so overjoyed. Go ahead.
All right. So the Papa and the Mommy for America will make the contribution of $5,000 in support of the president called for Operation 2000. Okay, Papa and Mommy and our family would have placed the
Thank you, PS. Should I wait? Wow. Papa and Mommy una place day up indeed. Una place day up. That is, yes, Mr. President. What do you say?
What we must understand is that our struggle is not simply a struggle for a land. It is a struggle for our survival in a hostile neighborhood where we do not have any helper. These are a people that we provided sanctuaries to them when they were faced with an internal civil war. These are a people that even in the midst of our agony, they have continued to claim our land. These are a people who continue to exploit our resources and degrade our environment. Ambazonians must know that this nightmare has come to an end. And rather than spend hours and days in cheap political propaganda, in trying to score points against each other, we must rally ourselves and put the resources that are necessary for us to bid goodbye to this enemy. Our citizens are roaming the streets of several countries in search of an identity and in search of a homeland. Ambazonians are one of the poorest expatriates in the world. Ambazonians are the people who can easily give up their names. Ambazonians are the people who can easily give away their identity. Ambazonians are the people who can easily adopt and adapt their ways of life to reflect that of their enemies because they want to survive. This generation has offered to us a trajectory to reverse this trend and to accept who we are, where we are, in a way that restores our dignity. We will not be freed by the quarrels, the blackmails, the instigations, the cheap points we score. This will be easily forgotten. It will not even feature in the footnotes of the most basic history books that will be written about ourselves. The great heroes of our time are those who, in moments like these, rise up like the mama and the papa who've said to themselves, I'm going to buy 2 AKs. Everyone can buy an AK. When I go to buy mine, when the spokeslady goes to buy hers, it's not because she's got too much money. She acts like the widow in the Bible who gave her all, the widow's mite. Because men and women have fallen against an unrepentant and arrogant enemy that does not give a damn about who we are. So Ambazonians, take note. La République's reign in our land has come to an end, and we must make sure the funeral takes place as early as possible. And Operation 200 AK is the beginning of the last mile of that journey. And I ask all of you to commit to make sure the memory of all those who've gone is still fresh in our minds, and for all those who are still fighting, that their days in the bush is shortened.
Wow. Okay, and that is how we will wrap it up, and we'll draw the curtains with that passionate remark from the president. We need to hasten the burials. We need to hasten the funerals. That is what he said. So, ladies and gentlemen, it all started with peace plans, but they didn't accept peace plans. And okay, Mr. President, it looks like they don't want us to leave the studio today. Hello, comrade, you are live and direct.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Spokes. It's a pleasure calling on the show to talk to our people. We are very grateful for our leader, the leader of our liberation movement, Dr. Lucas J. AYABA. He has always been there from the beginning to the end. From the beginning, and he will take us to the end. By the grace of our ancestors, we pray and wish him long life and good health, because we know that he is the vanguard of our liberation struggle. And I want to announce that a mother from Ground Zero has contributed 50,000 amber to support the 200 AK project.
That's great. Good news.
Her name is
Grandma 5. Yeah, place day up, Grandma 5. Shake no day, mommy. That's a mother who understands the pain of her children. She just came in to let us know that even though she is on ground zero and has nothing, she understands what it means for a mother to lose a child. So we say, Mama, ya place day up. Ya place day. Shake no day.
Okay, Spokes. That's what I just wanted to inform our people.
Okay, thank you.
We will continue to fight for our freedom till freedom comes.
Exactly. Thank you very much, AC. AS. Okay, fellow Ambalanders, thank you very much. And as you can see, the various payment portals are displayed on the screen. But before we leave the studio, we just want to bring to your memories again that before we got here, we started from somewhere. We didn't just get up and start picking up guns. We started with peaceful demonstrations. They ignored us. They killed us with helicopter gunships. They fired at us from the skies and killed us in our numbers before we finally got to where we are. When we talk of Mancho's BBC's coffin revolution, it was all about peaceful demonstration. So as you watch Ambalanders, don't forget to visit the TOF website to contribute and any other payment portal that has been displayed. And if you can't access any of these payment portals, please get in touch with any of us. Contact Mama Wali in the US or any other member of the US mission. Contact the PS in Canada or any other member of the US Canadian mission or anybody that is part of the AGOFC family and tell us how you want to contribute. If you want us to pick it cash, trust me, we'll fly to where you are and pick it. That is how serious the business of liberating Ambazonia is to us. So thank you all for watching and thank you for your support. Shake, no day. God bless us all, one for all and all for one. Ambazonia, now and forever. We are the never again generation, and we must continue to prove to the international community that we are contenders. Have a good evening.
Today we therefore lay to rest one of we again. Last evening, I did a hospital roundabout for one of the brother where they bring her from Kumba. They go lay for rest to the battle. From here to our reach there to talk with the family. So as I talked yesterday, make the family make sure that they do one favor. Una keep every record about it. Una keep from the pictures, the videos, the hospital record, mortuary receipt. Because as I don't talk, even when we go we, La Republic will still pay. They will pay for all these damages and they will pay seriously. So una keep all the records. Even if the minister will take them go international court, they will pay for all these damages. I know it take una time plenty, but I will tell you from the day we will start the coffee revolution for city chemists, me and my brother for here, Akuma, it never be easy for us side. We need to sleep for us. Sunday would even notice and say daybreak, night that will never chop. Even me at the top now, when I don't see picture, they will bullet and they with my own skin. When I here have a food market with a protest, policeman move gun shoot me directly. Even no say don't kill me. If surprised, he say I still run. They follow me inside water for food market, me and the 4 day. I still come inside the water, go, ye remain there. So they fight, not the fight, but they give up. I don't talk so we don't try different people there as a wife, but a very bad woman.
you